Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Play on Words podcast. It's your host, Miss Beth. And wow, the last 4 months I feel like have been such a whirlwind. Um, and this episode is going to be taking it back to the original style of the podcast that I'm hoping to get more time to do. I've had so many fantastic guests and longer form interviews on the podcast, and I love doing that. But what I really would love to get back to is sharing weekly just a really specific question that real parents ask and a real quick answer that you can implement by the end of the day. So this also goes for teachers too, of course. Anything that a teacher can implement in the classroom, a parent can try at home and vice versa. But I'm excited to get back to answering your questions. I have a list of about 300 questions that you have asked. So plan for at least 300 more episodes. Of course, if you have any question, no matter how specific it is, please reach out and email or send a message on Instagram, Big City Readers, or email hello@bigcityreaders.com. And check out my blog on bigcityreaders.com. You can see, I'm bringing that back too. So you can see a lot of the topics that we talk about here in a written format if you prefer to read things. So a lot of things are coming back full swing this spring. And I'm so excited to hopefully help you at home or in your classroom. So let's dive into this week's question. So this week, someone asked, can you help me with vowels? Vowel sounds seem to be really tricky for my 4-year-old who knows most of her consonants but struggles with vowels. Okay, first of all, your 4-year-old knowing most of their consonants is an amazing thing in itself. So let's just celebrate that because it is totally developmentally appropriate to even start kindergarten not knowing all of your sounds. And the vowels are tricky for kids even in first and second grade. So you haven't even started kindergarten yet, and you're already helping your child with this. So I hope that you really, really know that that is a huge thing to celebrate. And they are right on track or beyond where they need to be. So your child does not need to master vowel sounds yet. But if they're showing interest and you're getting ready to start reading some CVC words, that stands for consonant, vowel, consonant. And there's another episode that I talk about this, but CVC words are usually where we start when we're teaching kids to read. We don't have to wait until kids know all of the letters to start teaching them to blend and build words. If you took my ABC workshop last month, I talked about this that you can teach 6 letters and have a solid understanding of those 6 letters and sounds and teach them how to blend and build words and start to build reading confidence. I showed you a lot of strategies and tools to do this, but one big thing I like to remind parents and teachers is that it is so much better to have a solid understanding of 10 letters and sounds. That means looking at them in all kinds of fonts, recognizing them uppercase and lowercase, being able to build them, whether that's writing them or if your hands aren't strong enough to write them yet, building them with Play-Doh or blocks, and knowing the sound and reverse when the sound is said, knowing that which letter represents that. So naming it, naming the letter, naming the sound, recognizing it in lots of different fonts, knowing it uppercase and lowercase. It is so much better, in my opinion, to solidly know 6 letters and sounds than just sort of know all of them inconsistently. So that's my one piece of advice there. Number 2, vowels are tricky. That is just That's just it. So expect your child to struggle with vowels. Even I see so many adults struggling with vowels. I hear people say, yeah, there's the letter A, like ah. And sure, sometimes it does say that sound. But when we're teaching beginning readers the vowel sounds, I like to start with the typical short vowel sound. So that would be A is a, E is eh, I is I, O is ah, U is Now, of course, we have Y, but this is where I start with this. This is where we start with 4 and 5 year olds, very, very beginning. We can get into that once they demonstrate that they're having understanding of how we're building words and blending words, and that a word needs to have a vowel in it, or a syllable needs to have a vowel in it too. So, that being said, some things that you can help your child with vowels are make it multisensory. So the more senses we can incorporate, the more connections we can make. So that doesn't mean you need to have a bowl of rice for your child to write their letters in. Although if they're interested in that, great. But multisensory can mean saying it while you're looking at it and hearing it, and also tracing it in the air or writing it in the carpet. So I would say pick one each day. So I'm not a big fan of letter of the week, but I like letter of the day, and know that they're going to be tricky, especially at age 4, but it's going to be tricky for your child to understand the differences. So I would pick one and talk about that one, and help them draw attention to hearing the sound in the middle of words. So, like, I might say pit, in, sit, and have them touch their head every time they hear the it sound. And I might hold the letter I in front of them, or give them a card or like a piece of paper, a post it, whatever you have that has the letter I on it, and explicitly say, this is the letter I, the sound is it. Repeat after me. This is the letter I, the sound is it. And every time you say a word that has I in it, they're going to lift that card up and say I. Or you can say, this is the letter I, the sound is I, and maybe change up your voice. Maybe you say it really loud and then they repeat it back to you. This is explicit instruction. We're explicitly saying, this is the letter, this is the sound, and they're confirming that. I also like to add little gestures. So another thing you can do is add little gestures. So for A, I might open my mouth, because the sound ah, I like to say, is kind of like the sound, or our mouth shape is going to be like we're going to take a big bite of an apple. So I open my hand next to my mouth like I'm taking a bite of an apple. Ah. Again, I'm going to have the letter A in front of me while I'm doing this. You could also put your hand or your finger under your chin and say, this short vowel sound makes our chin come down. So again, we're showing our mouth opened. You could also make it show that your chin comes down and push against your hand. Ah, ah, and then repeat that a lot. I probably with age 4 would not do all of the vowel sounds at the same time. I might really help them feel confident with 1 or 2 in a day, and then repeat that for a little while and then introduce other ones. You know your child best, so you'll be able to tell if they're understanding it or if they're overwhelmed. But I like to keep this practice short and sweet. So maybe you do it for 3 minutes and then end on a high note, be done. Bring it back around, maybe at dinner time, same vowels that you talked about at breakfast, and do 2 or 3 more minutes, have fun, make it silly, and then be done again. Like, leave them wanting more. For the okay, so I'll give you some cues that you can do. So for A, that's what I would do. For E, I take 2 fingers, like a thumb and your index finger, and I put them on each of the corners of my mouth. And then you're going to say the sound as you kind of push back your lips in those corners toward your ears. Eh, eh. The letter is E, the sound is eh. For I like to pretend I have an itch on my nose. So wrinkle your nose and take your pointer finger and say, itch. I says, For the short vowel sound O, like in the word pot, I like to say, have you ever had to go to the doctor and they want to look in your mouth? They say, open up your mouth and say, ah. And then I draw a circle with my finger around my mouth. And I say, look at the sound that you're making is also the shape that the letter O is. So, ah, O says, ah. And then for the short vowel U, I like to take, you can either just take your hand or make a U with your hand and gently hit your chest and say, like kind of the sound you make when you get hit in the stomach or the chest, and of course, we want to set appropriate boundaries around this. We don't want kids hurting themselves, model how to do these things gently. Um, and I would practice these exercises every day. So after you've introduced these vowel sounds, and maybe you've practiced two a day, two a day, two a day, two a day, two a day for 2 weeks, then I'm going to practice them every day. And this is just something really short you can do. You can keep post-its in the car that have each of these letters. So either the written in uppercase or lowercase, and then you can just say short CVC words, or if your child's ready for multisyllabic words, you can say bigger words, but have them hold up while you're driving or doing any like making dinner activity, and just do 2 minutes of calling out words and have them hold up the post-it of the vowel sound they hear in that word. So this is a really great way to start practicing introducing the short vowel sounds, but also know that at age 4, it's really typical to be struggling with these vowel sounds, and it's normal even in kindergarten and first grade. But this is what I would do. This is some explicit instruction on vowel sounds. Remember, it does not have to be that complicated. Just say, this is the letter, this is the sound. And I like to do, I do, we do, you do. And kids love this. It's kind of like follow the leader. So have them listen to you. This is the letter I, the sound is I. We do, we both say it. This is the letter I, the sound is I. You do, they say it. This is the letter I, the sound is I. As your child gets more comfortable and confident with this, you can play games like I spy with my little eye something that starts with I, or something that has an I inside of it. And of course, that is a much higher level than this beginning stage for 4-year-olds. But this is just some differentiation you can have if you've got, second graders and preschoolers with you that you're practicing letter games with. These are some fun things to do. Long vowel sounds are going to come much later. This is going to be what you're going to start with. Long vowels typically follow a progression of when we know kids are ready to be introduced to long vowel patterns. And for a lot of kids, that will come end of kindergarten or early first grade. But again, it depends on the child and what they're understanding and showing mastery in. And that's what I would follow. I would follow their lead. So it's not like they should know this at a certain time. If it hasn't been introduced, we can't really expect that they would understand this. So I only hold kids accountable to the things that they have been explicitly taught. If you want to see a video of me saying all of the letter sounds, you can go to YouTube and look up Big City Readers, or go to my Instagram, Big City Readers, and I have a couple of videos pinned saying the beginning letter sounds that I introduce to kids that are ready to learn the letter sounds. I also have an ABC workshop that breaks down this and so much more. So you can get on the wait list for the next time I launch this by sending a message that says ABC workshop to me on Instagram. That's Instagram.com/bigcityreaders. Thank you so much for this question. I love answering these and I love getting to know you guys. So please keep sending them. And of course, if you want any of the free resources that I mention in this podcast, you can go to bigcityreaders.com/podcast, and there will be a library of free resources. While you're there, check out the blog. There's tons of resources there. And if you like this podcast, please rate, review, and follow. That helps us get seen by so many more parents and teachers. And it really means a lot to me. Okay, I hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time.